Megan's off on holiday, so as a special treat, Konrad is joined by ex-chef, thwarted drone pilot, occasional traffic law violator, and shrewd political analyst Basti Knight. Over bottles of arguably the worst and second worst beers produced in Germany, they discuss the fall of Jens Spahn to a surrogacy scandal, the federal police's new Minority Report powers, Germany's obsession with tanks, and Basti's surprising difficulties on Where's Wally. Prost!
In Berlin's heart, where news is unveiled, Megan and Konrad with German tales. The German news, it's tough to bear, but with mega cans, they're ready to head. Konrad, daily news at hand. Megan feels to spare time to crack those cans. With each sip she takes, the mag is her shield. But will it last the news? 'Cause that was the deal.
Hello everyone, this is Konrad here from Megan's Megacan. Obviously you can tell that by the fact that I've started that Megan is not here. Megan's on holiday, so we're doing a little filler-in show, and I got a special guest for this show. It is Basti Knight. Hello, Basti.
Hello, and apologies because Megan is far superior to me in probably 95 out of 100 key factors that make a human good or not.
Okay, good. Yeah, so very excited to have you here. Have you been following the German news recently?
Absolutely, and one thing I love to do is I can call my brother Konrad whenever I want to know anything about the news, rather than reading a newspaper, for example.
Yeah, I'm a lot cheaper, and I don't charge a subscription like most newspapers do, and I can explain it in simple language.
And if I may say, I always believe everything you say.
Good, as it should be.
You normally tell the truth, don't you?
Pretty much, or what I think is the truth.
I'll take it.
I mean, obviously, often you get annoyed at me when I start to riff or improvise the news. Then you go away and check it, and you find out that I've made up a number or something.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely fair. I just don't like it when you'll say something like 70% of fish are lesbians or something, and then I'll be like, are you sure? And then you say, well, it's something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I promise I'll try not to do that now. I've marshalled all my facts, but before we start that, we're going to have a drink, and obviously because it is Basti's Beercan today, we're having beer, not in a can, in a glass bottle. I'm having a Pilsator, which is the cheapest beer available in Germany, and you're having a Sterni.
Yes, I don't. Why did you do this?
Why did I buy Pilsator?
Yeah, I mean, at times tough. That's the absolute worst beer possible.
I know. I just thought, it would kind of fit. I thought you'd quite like it for some reason.
No. Luckily, there was a Sternburg in your fridge. But even say no disrespect to anyone who's struggling financially but still wants to enjoy a beer. But even the poorest of the poor will not go to a Spätkauf and buy a Pilsator because they'll go to a supermarket, won't they?
Right, yeah.
If you're going to choose the absolute most disgusting, horrible beer possible, you're not going to pay double in a Spätkauf.
Right.
So what you've done is, I would say, extremely disrespectful to the poorest of Berlin's alcoholics.
I'm sort of slumming it as a bourgeois.
Well, I just want to
journalist.
see you drink it because it's absolutely revolting.
All right.
Now, I've got a Sterni, which actually, if you drink Sternburg for about 2 months and no other beer, it actually starts to taste like normal beer.
Good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's fine. How's yours?
I mean, it doesn't. I was expecting a lot worse. I mean, how much do you have to drink for it to get really bad or really good? I just like the name Pilsator because it sounds like it's a Terminator or something.
It's mythological. As Marky Smith would say.
Yeah.
It's Adrian Childs like, why did you write a song about the Spartans? Mythological.
It's got a picture of a lion on it. Is it true that it's made
This is Pilsator! Kick him down a well.
Is it? How do they make pirzola? Is it like...
So basically, whenever they make beer, and then they have to clean out these huge fässer, these huge brewing pots, everything that's at the bottom, they send it over to the Pilsata factory.
Well, anyway, cheers. I'm enjoying it. So, big news this week. The CDU parliamentary leader, Jens Spahn, has had to resign. He's been on the show very often. He's had, not on this show, we've talked about him very often. He's not actually been on the show. Obviously, that would be ridiculous. He has had to resign this week because he said last week that he and his husband had used a surrogate mother in the United States to become parents. And the thing is...
Can I stop you there? Isn't that illegal in Germany?
Yes, how did you know? It is illegal,
yeah. So what's he doing?
Well, that's what a lot of people have been asking in Germany this week, and it did not go down very well amongst the CDU membership and the CDU base, because they said that he was guilty of hypocrisy. Not only because he has himself voted against it, because the CDU actually made a new resolution earlier this year to say that they were against surrogacy on principle, and he was one of the people who voted for it. He voted with his party about that, even though at the time he was already himself having a baby by surrogacy. Yeah, it's sort of blown up in his face, and I think also the way he handled it kind of went down very badly, because apparently a lot of senior CDU people didn't actually know he was doing this, including the Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, didn't know he was doing this until about a week before it came out. And then he just sort of posted a picture of him and his new baby when he had the baby. And and so a lot of people were like, well, this is quite a surprise. And but it was really interesting. The first few days, the other CDU leaders would post things on Twitter and the social medias, and they would say oh, congratulations to our friend Jens Spahn. And then it kind of then it sort of started bubbling up from the CDU voters, and especially in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, they basically put pressure on their party leadership, and the head of the CDU in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern was the one who first called for him to resign a few days ago. Yeah, so it's he's gone. And then what's interesting as well is that he's been guilty of quite a lot of other scandals. There was the famous mask affair that you might have heard of, because he was the health minister. He was the health minister during the COVID-19.
Let me guess. He didn't wear a mask.
No, what he did was he spent about 3 billion euros on masks that turned out to be no good, and that had to be thrown away. He spent all this public money.
Surely just buy one mask first, test it out, and then buy more.
No, he just...
Can we go back to the surrogacy thing? I mean, so he is a gay man.
Yeah, and a Catholic.
Okay, so first of all, if you're going to do the surrogacy thing, then only one of the two men are the biological father.
Yeah. In this case, it was not him. It was his husband, Daniel Funke.
So surely, given that there are so many orphans, would you not adopt?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
especially if you're in a high position in a major German political party, and surrogacy is illegal.
Well, actually, I could clarify the legal position. So
he did it somewhere else.
Yeah, he did it in America. But the point is, it's not illegal in Germany to be a surrogate mother or to have a surrogate arrangement. What's illegal is carrying out the medical procedure and also advertising it in Germany. So it's de facto illegal, but it's not. You can't be put in prison for being a surrogate mother, for example, in Germany. So
oh no, of course not.
And he did, and it is clarified that it's not illegal for a German person to go abroad and have a surrogate child. That they had this, there was in fact a Supreme Court ruling about this, a constitutional court ruling saying that it was okay for a German person to go abroad. He hasn't done anything illegal. But obviously the fact that he voted against it, and the fact that in 2015 he said he was personally very against the idea of what he, in quotes, called a rented womb, of using a rented womb. And also, and if you go on his website, his Catholic identity, he makes a big deal of his Catholic identity and of his belief and everything like that.
So has he resigned?
So he resigned on Saturday quite quickly, and he obviously did not want to resign because he did a podcast last week where he just talked about it and talked about all his feelings, and he kind of confronted the situation as best he could. And they asked him, "Are you going to resign?" There's like one person had already asked him to resign, the Mecklenburg-Vorpommern guy. He said, "No, I don't want to resign." And now he had a meeting with Merz. And Merz had obviously had a lot of pressure from the party, and he had said, "You've got to resign."
Did he say how much it cost?
Well, no, he didn't say how much it cost, but there has been some research that it costs. That's the other thing, is that it costs an awful lot of money. You're looking at like well over 100,000 for all the fees and legal stuff that you've got to go through. And yeah, so that's the other thing that people were talking about, is that fertility treatment in Germany, it's almost impossible. It's very difficult to get. It's very expensive to get, and if you're poor, and especially if you're a single woman, it's very difficult to get. So there's quite a lot of elements of this people would say were hypocritical considering the situation.
And also, is there a sort of, does the woman, the surrogate mother, have to sign something saying that once she gives birth, she has no legal right or has nothing to do with her child? What's going on there? Because first of all, you must need the $100,000 to have a child inside you and then give birth to that child, and then it just goes to Germany and you have nothing to do with it.
I don't know.
Cristiano Ronaldo did a similar thing with one of his first children.
Yeah, it's quite common.
But I mean, how it must be quite. I mean, surely a mother, like a woman's instinct when she gives birth, is that she's then a mother. But I'm saying it must be emotionally very, very difficult.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of Germans are against it, and that's why a lot of German people think that it should be banned. And especially conservative voters think that it should be banned for that reason. I've seen some social media posts saying it's basically human trafficking, but I wouldn't call it human trafficking.
Whoa, you heard it here first. Konrad does not think it's that bad. But you can't understand what it must feel like. I think from speaking to women that have given birth, my mother included, it's quite a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone knows what the situation is before you do it. If you'd like to write in to give us your opinion on surrogacy, you can write to hello@megansmegacan.com.
Now, a short note from our sponsor.
We ain't got no sponsors. We ain't got no ads. Just Konrad's headlines with Megan's cocktail cans. So if you like the cocktail and the current affairs, throw us some euros. Help stay on the air.
So, if the news is doing your head in, and this podcast helps you cope,
check out some coins. Buy us some rum and cokes.
www.patreon.com, ko-fi.com. Links in the show notes. Come on, do it. Do it right now. Splendid. Come along then. Back to the show.
What else has been happening in the news, Konrad?
So, did you listen to do you still listen to the podcast ever?
Of course I do, every single day.
Okay.
Week. Of course I do, every single week.
Every other week.
Of course I do, every other week.
Okay. Well, last time, regular listeners will remember that we were talking about the Freedom of Information Act.
Of course.
Has been gutted by the current German government, which I think is an egregious attack on democracy. If the AfD had done it, there would have been absolute outrage. But because like a centrist parties have done it, everyone seems to have decided, okay, well, that's how it's going to be. But anyway, they've gutted the Freedom of Information Act, and this week they've passed another law which expands the federal police powers, including the use of AI and surveillance and drone defenses. So it's called the Federal Police Act. It has to be updated every few years because, things happen and because technology changes. This is the first time it's been updated since 1994 properly, although it was also updated a little bit in 2012. Anyway, they've updated it. They've passed a whole new one, and one of the main things it includes
is it allows the federal police to use AI-supported facial recognition surveillance in public spaces where the federal police have jurisdiction. So that means airports,
your trains, major train stations,
and near Germany's borders. They have jurisdiction close to Germany's borders.
If I can just say, if I could just interrupt you there, Konrad, I know a lot about this stuff. I'm a regular traffic offence committer. I no longer have a car, which is a good thing, but when I did, I was often speeding or making mistakes, and they take a photo of your face. Now, what they can now do is not only that, but let's say you wore a balaclava, they can actually know just by the way you walk, by your gait. They can also, even covering your face will not help. Or let's say...
Where they can identify you from your gait.
If you are like a recognised, or if you've been filmed enough,
right,
by your height, by your shape, by the way you walk, maybe even if the AI can also remember what clothes you have worn in the past. So even if you to cover your face, it can still identify you. This is terrifying. And also, what they can now do, of course, is they can make an assumption about your mood. So let's say you're at a train station, and let's say you're with a bunch of friends, and maybe you're having a little laugh together, and maybe you sort of do a joking you get one of your friends in a headlock for a laugh.
Yeah.
The AI will then tell the police that someone's being attacked, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you are, let's say you run down the escalator and you just miss your S-bar, and then you're like, I can't bloody believe it, and you're like all angry. The AI will like, there's a nutter there. He's got mental health problems. He's gone insane, and it's really ridiculous, isn't it?
And it will, and as you say, this is called behavior recognition AI, which the federal police will be allowed to use in railway stations. Theoretically, they're only supposed to use this when it gets particularly busy, or after concerts and stuff, when people are a bit leery, or at football matches. But that's exactly what it does. It recognizes behaviors that seem to be conspicuous or threatening, such as throwing a punch, putting someone in a headlock, running up and down the platform looking frustrated. And this was the subject of the debate in the Bundestag this week. The left party's Clara Bünger said, the AI will assume that you're a pickpocket if you walk up and down the platform in frustration, and you look like a suspicious lingerer, as she put it. And
I believe that one of a female member of Die Linke, she was trying to point out how ridiculous this was, and she was laughed at.
Yes, by the government parties.
Yeah.
They said that's pure populism, and they jeered.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
What happens is, if they ever bring this into place, everybody collectively just sort of walks around like an absolute maniac, and everyone's just like waving their arms around, and the AI will get confused, it won't work,
and the police will have to switch it off.
I mean, it's very worrying that the police can read your text messages and emails and stuff.
That's another thing they're going to do. They're going to have expanded powers for being allowed to hack into people's phones and other devices with less suspicion than they normally have.
So when we think about in the 80s and that, when we would watch films about the future, and you thought, do you remember when you thought, that's not going to happen? And now it actually is happening, isn't it? It actually is.
Oh yeah, I mean, in China they've already used all this, don't they? There is a special shirt you can buy that makes you invisible for AI software. Did you know about this?
No.
I saw it in like an exhibition once. There were these Hawaiian type. They look like Hawaiian, really bright shirts.
It's like one of them magic eye books.
Yeah, and they've got a special pattern on them.
You have to squint your eyes to see the image.
Yeah,
but AI can't do that squinty eye thing.
That's exactly it. It can't do the squinty eye thing, so it can't see that you're there. It doesn't register you as a human being.
It doesn't see it.
You're just like a shadow. Yeah.
Berlin or Germany even has been so against CCTV.
Yeah.
Germans love their Privatsphäre. They're always talking about it. When the police were asked about the fact that there's one violent crime at Cottbusser Tor every single day, an average of one per day, and they were asked by the Senate, I believe, what should we do to stop this? And they said, we need to put cameras everywhere. And then the Senate said, no, Germans don't like that or whatever. So then they compromise on the fact that police have to be there every day, which costs loads of money.
Yeah. So they put a police station at Cottbus Tor, didn't they? Yeah.
And they have a van in the centre, so yeah, they have a police station there. So it just really surprises me that how is this getting through the use of CCTV? Because I actually don't mind cameras if you tell people and if you use them correctly. Like when I had a restaurant, we had a camera, and when we first told everyone that worked there that we had a camera, there were maybe one or two that felt a bit uncomfortable about it. They felt like it meant that we could watch them, but actually it was for their own safety and for the same. If somebody were to steal something, we would have it on camera. It really helps when you're using your insurance to get the money back, or if you want to actually catch someone. And what was interesting is that my business partner at the time, he told me that if you actually have on camera an employee stealing, if you have that on camera, you can't, if you're using that camera for safety purposes, you cannot use that video evidence to fire somebody for stealing, which in a way I quite like that.
Oh, right.
I'm pretty sure in other countries that would not be the case. And I've been in places where, in late night in bars and stuff, where somebody working in a place is being physically threatened. And if there's a camera there, it just means that they're less likely to get physically attacked. So I do like cameras as long as they are only used post-crime.
Right.
So not pre-crime, no Minority Report style stuff where an AI identifies a criminal before they've done something criminal.
Yeah.
But rather, if somebody commits a crime, you can then use that footage as evidence.
Yes. And like you said, that was also the argument that the police made. And a lot of I spoke to a professor of public law who made this argument. He said, it is very important that we have these laws because we need to have a legal framework for what the police can and can't do in certain situations, and how they can and can't use technology like this. So obviously it is very likely that there will be legal challenges to this use of AI, because in Germany you have the right to know what happens to your data. So with AI, that is obviously not always going to be easy to guarantee that you will know what's happening to your data, because the AI is just figuring out who you are all the time. And then how can you control, or how can you see what is happening to your data? So there will be legal challenges. It will go through the courts, but in the meantime, this police law will be in force, and the police will be using this technology in the meantime. But the idea is, if you have this law, then there will be some protection for data privacy. But obviously, what the law also does is create this infrastructure that could be used by a dictatorship state in the future,
Yeah. If the AfD get in power, they're just gonna get photos of every single immigrant, and then just scan, just use the cameras to constantly recognize where they are, if they're doing something wrong, if they are not officially registered or something, and then just do that thing they want. What's it called? The opposite of immigration? Remigration or something?
Remigration.
They want to send people back, even if they've built a life here.
Yeah.
There's no longer a war in your country. You can go back.
Yeah, and then they'll use this.
I've been here for 10 years, and I've got married, I've got a kid, and I've got a business. Doesn't matter. Get out.
And then now they'll use this surveillance. Also, drones is the biggest issue.
Don't talk to me about drones, Konrad. I asked you once for Christmas, I really wanted a drone. And you bought me, Konrad, I don't want to ask how much you spent on it, because I don't think it was very much. But you bought me a drone that was very subpar. I doubt you even went onto Amazon and looked at any kind of reviews. You bought me a very bad drone, and I remember the first time I took that drone to Treptow Park, it just didn't work. And I was so disappointed.
I'm very sorry. Do you still want a drone? Do you want a better
drone?
Not anymore, are you through your drone period?
I just had visions of, creating fantastic online content on social media sites, and maybe my life would be completely different. Maybe I would have made a living out of it. Maybe I'd be much richer than I am now. So am I blaming you for how my life has turned out because you got put me a very bad drone? No, but is it possible? It's possible.
Well, one of the things that this law also regulates is how and when the police can use drones for surveillance, like if there's a big crowd or a big demo and stuff. So they'll be able to use drones for that too. Up till now, that had not been clear what the legal situation with that was. And how and when they can shoot down a drone that they think is a threat.
This is awful, isn't it? This is really bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could be really bad.
You can't just observe. You can't just watch people like that. It's just not okay. Because then how does would anyone ever feel safe about taking part in a demonstration? If somebody is a doctor or a teacher or a nurse, and they don't agree with something, and then they think, well, I'm not going to go to that protest because I'm going to be recognised, and it might affect my career. Even if it's a peaceful protest, people will just not go. People
do that. That happens anyway. I mean, the police can already film at a demo if they want anyway, but now they can film from the sky too. Well, so they can probably see more.
Actually, I was at a friend's house today, and he's got a beautiful young daughter, and he got her a Where's Wally book. And I just had a little flick through, and I could not believe how difficult it was. Now, I used to be, when I was a child, it's so easy. But when you're in your mid-40s, it was so hard to find Wally.
Maybe you need reading classes.
Yeah, or, you get a drone to do it.
Yeah, I mean...
it was unbelievable. I need to show you, because do you remember Where's Wally when you were young?
Yeah,
it was easy.
It wasn't that hard, no.
I tell you what, you would struggle.
You think I wouldn't be able to find Wally?
I looked for Wally for about 20 minutes. I found his girlfriend. I found his there's like a bizarro Wally. He's like called like crimey or something, or badly, or like he's like the criminal Wally.
Oh God.
And then you've got a wizard, and then he's got a dog as well. They all have striped outfits. I found his girlfriend, I found his dog, I found the evil Bizarro Wally. I could not find Wally.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope that you find him soon. What am I supposed to say? I mean, yeah, the
point is, it's like yeah, okay, so
maybe your eyes have gone. I just think your eyes have gone.
If there's a really, I mean, like let's say there's it's just silly because where do you draw the line? And do people really just kill each other constantly in like peaceful cities like Berlin? Of course, some people get stabbed and killed. It does happen, but we don't really need to be watching each other. Can I just say actually one thing I'd like to say about the wave of immigration? I've been living in the Neukölln area for about 20 years. Right now I live in Treptow, but I live about 20 meters from Neukölln. Berlin or Neukölln feels safer since the wave of Syrian and Kurdish or refugees. And I think it's because they've come here from war-torn areas and they want a better life. The last thing they want to do or want to see is crime. They don't... You remember like 15 years ago, they'd be all like just like when in Manchester, be like little like 16-year-olds causing trouble, and they'd be buying knives and using them. They can't now because the population will just not tolerate it. And also, I just want to shout out to Zanali. I think it's one of the best, as a former chef, it's one of the best roads for food in Berlin. The competition is so high and the quality is incredible. You must take me there.
You want to go to, what's your favourite shop on Sonnenallee?
Assam Supermarket, Palestinian-owned supermarket. They've just opened a second branch. It's massive. And they're also known for having, I think, a fish restaurant and another restaurant.
Well, so it's a shop and a restaurant?
No. So they have like several businesses on.
Right.
But Azam, Azzam, the best supermarket I've ever been to.
Wow. Okay.
It's incredible. Little tip, go to the olive cheese section and ask for the unlabelled olive oil. It's on the top shelf behind the olive and cheese section.
Why is it unlabeled? Is it illegal?
No, it's just, I think it's like, you've got to know about it, you know?
Okay, and it's better than the normal olive oil with the
You will
label.
not find better olive oil anywhere in Berlin.
Okay. Great, that's great to know. Do you want some more news? It's not so much news, it's more just what's happening with...
Please.
So, Germany is spending more and more money on weapons, you might have heard. Have you heard this?
Of course.
The defence spending in Germany has gone up through the roof. It's getting really to ridiculous sums now. So, and it's going...
It's getting really too ridiculous, yeah.
It's too ridiculous. What did I say? Anyway, 2025, last year, the defence budget was 62.4 billion euros. This year, it's 82.7 billion euros.
God.
And by 2029, which is only in 3 years' time, it'll be 152 billion euros. So almost double what it
I no
was.
longer pay tax.
This is on top of the 100 billion euro special fund that was announced in 2022 by Olaf Scholz. Do you remember that after the invasion of
Ukraine? Of course. He made he quickly did a sort of budget change. A last minute budget change because of the war, and invested loads of money on tanks and it's like, no, invest money in drones that have no... If you shoot a drone out the sky, nobody dies.
Yeah.
And they're way better than any human at killing people.
Yeah, so that's you very much summed up the debate that is happening in German military analyst circles there. It's very succinct. But have you heard of the FCAS Franco-German fighter jet?
Of course. I mean, if I could just compare it to... so it's like, give a man a fish and he can feed himself and his family for one day. Give him a fishing net, you know.
Yeah.
And it's very the same. It's like, give an army a tank and it can fight for a day. Give an army a drone and it can, like, you know...
All the means to manufacture a lot of cheap drones. So the point is...
Not as cheap as the one you got me for Christmas, because that was rubbish.
Oh, dear. Right, concentrate now. The FCAS fighter jet, it cost 110 billion euros.
For one?
No, not for one, for building a new set of them. So they developed...
That's like 3. How many?
They haven't started building them yet. That's the point. They had to scrap the whole project because the two companies, the French...
Fighter jets?
Yeah.
With a human flying it?
Yes.
Why?
They started it in 2017. It's called the Future Combat Air System, FCAS. The two companies were French Dassault and German Airbus, and they basically fell out over who was going to do what this year, and they scrapped the whole project after working on it for 9 years. It costs 100 billion euros. It's very embarrassing.
Well, just take the loss, because, you know, sometimes if you start something, as soon as you know it's not going to work, you should stop.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. Well, it was more that they kind of realised that the two companies just couldn't get on.
I mean, it's hard enough as a British person. Well, I'm not really British, but I'm you know, whatever. To get on with the Germans, very difficult. To get on the French, very difficult. So I imagine if they have to get on with each other, that's impossible.
Yeah. So in the meantime, you're probably watching the news from the war in Iran and the war in Ukraine, where they're sending up all these very cheap drones, not as cheap as the one that I got you for Christmas that time, but other types of drones that cost 20,000-30,000, and they're bringing down cruise missiles from America that cost millions each, the Iranian ones. What we're kind of learning, and what especially the Ukrainians are teaching the European militaries, is that you don't really need these expensive fighter jets. And in fact, the Ukrainian Air Force, Ukraine has an Air Force as well. It also has some fighter jets, but it doesn't have nearly as many as Russia has. And
but they're still able to compete.
Yeah,
because of the drones.
Because of the drones and the air defenses and other stuff. And
have you seen those light shows in China, where they just do a light show with like 20,000 drones, and it's
and they make like
unbelievable.
faces in the sky and
They
stuff.
do like two figures sort of engaging in combat or something, or
Yeah, it's amazing.
it's incredible.
Yeah. And you might remember a few years ago when the Ukraine war started,
Oh,
there was a
you
lot...
okay there? Is that the Pilsata kicking in?
Yeah, Phil Zarta's just repeating on me there.
Gut rot.
There was this big debate about whether Germany should send Taurus rockets or Leopard tanks to help Ukraine. And I was talking to an MP yesterday from the Social Democratic Party, and he was saying, I went to Ukraine last week and no one was talking about these Taurus cruise missiles or these Leopard tanks. And what they want help with making is not just drones, because actually they make the best drones now because they've been fighting this war for 4 years and they really know how to do it and do it really cheap. Apparently now, he also told me that they showed him military drones that you could steer with an iPhone, with a smartphone.
That's great. So Ukraine is known as the best at drones.
Well, they're kind of they've had to learn really quickly, how to make them
That's
really cheap and
brilliant,
make a lot of them. So, yeah. And the thing they also really need help with satellites and communication and modernizing the whole computer infrastructure. Like, that is how the war is being fought at the moment, according to this MP that I spoke to.
Are there still actual troops, soldiers, like Russian soldiers trying to...
Oh yeah, that still happens. So I talked about this. So this is something that's being talked about in the military analyst debate a lot. Is the tank dead? Is a big thing now. Is the tank obsolete? And then I was talking to these other military analysts. That's all been overplayed. They do still need tanks for certain things, but probably maybe not as many as we used to. But we do still need tanks and they need conventional artillery to take territory and keep territory and hold territory.
Have you seen a tank? They're useless. They're just really heavy things. They break down all the time.
Yeah, they're complicated machines.
Yeah, they're rubbish.
And it's not just that they're rubbish, it's also that they take a long time to manufacture and to develop. Like, what you want in the tank, that takes years and years and years. And whereas drones, they can just keep producing them all the time, and they're like out of date after a month, but then they can just put in new software and they can put in new stuff. They're kind of easy to update, but at the moment Germany doesn't have the manufacturing infrastructure to build these things really quickly in the way that Ukraine does.
One of the reasons the Nazi Germany lost World War II was a lack of fuel.
Could be true. I don't know.
The Allies started to target their fuel deposits, and then as soon as there's no fuel, your tanks are not much use. Because imagine if you went to an Aral Tankstelle and filled a tank with petrol.
You'd empty the tank.
It'd be like €1,000. A very heavy machine.
Fill it up, please. And we probably wouldn't get very far with it either. Well, that's a whole other issue, isn't it? Dependency on oil. But you will be glad to hear that the German government has introduced a new law to make military procurement more efficient. It's called the...
Delighted to hear that.
It's called the Bundeswehr-Beschaffungsbeschleunigungsgesetz. That's one I'm really happy.
Bundeswehr-Beschaffungsbeschleunigungsgesetz.
Yeah, the military procurement acceleration law. And basically they took away some of the red tape and made it easier to various units to buy their own weapons without having to go through the government. It kind of opens the door a little bit to corruption, but we're not going to talk about that. Yeah, that's all the news. I haven't got anything else. Have you got anything else to talk about?
No, I just want to say, thank you for having me on as a guest, and just to emphasise that I am no match for the fantastic Megan. Well done. Really great podcast. Really is great.
Thanks. That's very kind of you.
Just wonderful. A journalist, and am I allowed to mention Megan as a teacher? Yeah, everybody knows. A journalist and a teacher just learning together, and also just think about all of the people that listen to the show who rely on the two of you to inform them.
Yeah, I hope they don't really rely on this.
Well, okay. It's difficult to read the news. Not as easy as it used to be. A lot of websites you have to pay for them. I'm sure a lot of English speakers living in Germany did not know as much as they once did, and that's all thanks to the two of you.
Oh,
You're doing something good.
thanks. Oh, I was gonna finish on a little bit of good news. I guess you'll have
Oh
to
God,
be the
this
judge of
isn't.
this.
I know it's not going to be anywhere near as good as that. Come on,
This
Germany has
got more stalks than it has ever had before.
the bird.
Yeah, the bird stalk, not the margarine.
God.
It's been a record year for stalks
Oh my
since
God.
records began.
This is like what they used to do on Channel 4 News. They'd end it with like a positive story.
Yeah.
They'd be like, war in Ukraine, mass starvation in South Sudan, genocide in Palestine. But the good news is
There's more
there's more stalks.
than ever before.
Good night.
15,000 breeding pairs of storks have been counted in Germany, and that is more than ever in the last century. All right, that's enough news.
No.
Have you got anything else to say?
Let's do more.
I've run out of things to talk about. I've gone through my whole list.
If you could give birth, how much would you charge? How much?
How much would I charge?
You have to be pregnant for 9 months, and then you have to give birth, and then you have to give away your child.
It's a very difficult question. I guess it would depend on the circumstances. I mean, how much would you charge? 100 grand?
I would say 350,000.
Wow. Do you think you'll get that? You got to have good genes for that.
This has been brilliant. Let's.
Beercan, German news in English with a cocktail can. The German news, it's quite a test. With Megan's Mega, you're feeling refreshed. Ooh. Megan's Beercan, German news in English with a cocktail can. Deutsche Nachrichten sind düster und schwer. Down the Mega.
Defy the fear.
Yeah.
It's actually quite a positive message to give to
think
people.
so.
I like to think that we have quite a positive impact on our listeners,
I hope so.
because we try and get them to defy the fear of listening to the news all day.
I mean, it's better than reading a German newspaper. Surely.
I would definitely recommend listening to our podcast more than reading any German newspaper.
German newspapers barely have pictures.
Yeah.
Like fucking, it's just a brick of text.
Oh yes,
It's
yeah, and they seem to make a
awful.
virtue of it. They think it's like so great to have no
Oh,
text.
not like you Americans
pictures.
with your fucking
Colour pictures.
decadent pictures in
I
your
know.
newspapers.
Yeah,
What's
like-
that, a crossword puzzle? Oh, no
You have
wonder
to-
you had Trump. Jesus Christ, everyone. Like, there's a middle ground.
You have to concentrate on the news. It's very important, and you have to like keep it there.
Just have a mega.
Have a mega. Give us a picture every now and then.
Just a
and-
wee picture, maybe of,
Yeah.
a diagram.
Now Basti's Beercan gets some extra beer with a few moments of bonus material with Konrad and his guest.
Hang on. Let's think of something else. Can you name the 9 living apex predators in the animal kingdom? There's 2 that are extinct. The Tyrannosaurus Rex and another one.
Great white shark.
Okay, so what you've just done is a classic mistake. So the orca whale enjoys killing the great white shark.
Okay, so the orca is above the.
Yeah, so the orca
Shark.
whale is one. They're also known as the killer whale.
And there's what is it? There were
So
others.
apex predator means like it's at the top of the food chain.
Right.
No other animal kills it.
A lion.
Great.
Good. How many others are there?
There's about 9.
9. Okay. Are we going to try and name all 9?
Well, okay, I'll give you a little clue. You just said lion. There's another animal that lives amongst the lions, and despite their reputation, or what you might see in The Lion King, for example, they don't actually kill each other. but they are both at the top of the food chain.
Hyena?
Yes, well done.
Thanks.
They actually don't. They have scuffles, but they don't.
Yeah, they're very playful.
Not
Do you know? I know a fact about hyenas. They can, that they can digest rotten meat.
Yeah.
They've got like special stomachs that no other animal has, so they can digest meat that's been lying.
Apex scavengers.
Yeah, they can digest meat that's been lying in the sun for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Now let's go. Okay, so we got those two.
Okay.
Think about a mammal that lives in the northern hemisphere. Come on, easy.
A bear.
Yes, easy.
Grizzly.
Easy. No animal can kill a bear
No.
unless you put it in, like, I don't know, in the Serengeti in some water. And there's a load of rhinos there.
No.
Now
Okay.
let's think about winged birds. Winged animals.
An eagle.
The bald eagle. And then let's go. I believe we went to a bird sanctuary together in Ireland.
An owl.
And you held on to that bird. It rested itself upon thine fist. It's also in... No, I was going to say it's in the film Kes, but it's not.
An owl.
No. Animals eat owls. A bald eagle will take an owl down and say it doesn't care how cute it is.
What else is there apart
A
from
falcon.
the eagle? A falcon, okay. Peregrine falcon.
Now you've missed out one species close to home.
I don't know.
The Homo sapien man.
Oh right, yeah, okay. Are we? Yeah, but that's only recently. When we were first evolved,
Yeah.
we were not at the top
We've
of the.
kind of cheated evolution.
Yeah.
But having said that, man, can you name the 3 animals that do kill and eat humans?
Well, anything if they get its hands on us.
Yeah, but like the ones that actually
Depends
do
how
it
hungry they are.
on a regular basis. Because, for example, sharks, of course, occasionally a shark does attack a human, but it's very, very rare. They actually don't go for humans generally.
Tiger. This is ridiculous. I'm going to cut this out.
No, well, of course you're going to cut it out, but just send it to me for personal use. Good guess, but it's actually... So in India, the cheetah is known to sometimes hunt children and kill them and eat them. It's quite sad, isn't it?
Well, not if you're a cheetah. It's not sad.
Yeah, no, of course.
I mean, you shouldn't leave your kids near a
But
cheetah.
then, and then the other ones is like a polar bear, of course. A polar bear, if you go on like an exploration of the Arctic, like it will devour you.
Oh yeah, polar bear. Yeah, I was once
They don't
in
give
a.
a fuck about you.
I was once on an island where you weren't allowed to leave the town because without a gun or without someone with a gun.
Svalbard.
Yeah, Svalbard, yeah, in
Svalbard,
Norway, yeah.
yes.
They have a population of about 500 polar bears, and the thing about them is that polar bears, like they're isolated. They just wander around on their own. They don't have groups or packs or whatever, so they don't know where they are at any one time. So they say that if you can't leave the town without a guide with a gun. Yeah, and one time a polar bear did come into the town and killed someone.
And can you tell us about that time you were in Africa and everybody told you get a taxi back to the hotel and you decided to walk home instead? What happened then?
I just walked and basically no one told me to get a taxi. I was just with all the other people at a shopping mall having dinner because there was nowhere else to eat, and I looked on Google Maps and I saw that the hotel was like just a kilometre away. So I thought, it's a 10-15 minute walk.
And everybody said, we'll get a taxi. Do you want to join us?
And I was
and
like,
you
no.
went, no. Are you sure, Ben? We're all staying in the same hotel. but just get a taxi bus. No, we're all right.
And then I just I walked, and then the part of the road there was no sidewalk area. There was just a grass verge, and there were all these buses coming the other way. And every bus that passed was like beeping really loud at me.
Yeah, and you thought,
what do they do?
they're saying hello. Or...
Yeah. And then I turned into the driveway towards the last like couple of 100 meters to the hotel, and there was just no light. It was just pitch black because there were trees on both sides, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see the sky, and I just followed the muddy road. And when I got to the gate, there was like a security guard at the gate, and he said, "Where's your car?" And I said, "Oh, I just walked." And he just went, "Never do that again."
Yeah.
Because on the other side of the big road that I'd walked along was a nature reserve where there are wild animals, and at night they like to hunt, and sometimes they do cross the road. But,
of course, and can you imagine a lion just burying its teeth into your neck? You're still conscious, and you just think, "Oh, should I got a taxi?"
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Or if I'd be thinking, "Oh no, my brother's gonna have to phone our mum and tell her what's happened." Just the sheer embarrassment.
I've been eaten, but I mean, what a way to go.
Apparently, there is a calm that when the adrenaline kicks in, the lion is like chewing your neck off, and you're bleeding profusely. Apparently, the adrenaline, like you get this almost like a sort of calmness, and you accept your fate.
Yeah.
And the adrenaline prevents any more pain from happening, and you just sort of lie there and just accept it. So,
yeah. Also, I think if you're bitten in the neck,
bad.
If you're bitten in the neck, you probably bleed out quite quickly, I would imagine. I mean, you probably lose consciousness.
And at that
quickly.
point, there's a lion burying its teeth into your neck. There's blood everywhere. You're no longer thinking about like, "Oh, maybe I'll get through this." You accept.
Yeah.
You just say,
yeah.
Okay,
I think it'd be worse to be attacked by a bear and killed by a bear, or by a crocodile. I think crocodile would be terrifying.
Yes, that's another one of the animals that kills humans, but not all crocodiles. Only a certain few. The ones in Brazil, I believe.
Oh.
But there are a lot of crocodiles, and I guess that don't go for humans.
Anyway, thanks for coming on the show.
We did, but not. I mean, we're recording, but none of this is going in.
But we haven't said goodbye yet.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on the show.
I did a whole thing about how brilliant the podcast is. Thank you. Go on.
Okay.
Thank you, Konrad.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Konrad.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll be back after the summer break. Bye.
News. War has started again in a country. Suffering. News.